special guests on our show. First off, she's almost 200 years old. Talk about aging well. Born on May 12th, 1820 in Florence, Italy, she spent her nights giving care to the wounded. Starting at a young age, she was very active in philanthropy and ministered to the ill and poor people in a nearby village. She believes nursing was her divine purpose in life. She's the author of many books, one being the Notes on Matters Affecting the Health, Efficiency, and Hospital Administration of the British Army. Her reforms during the Crimean War sparked a complete reconstruction of the administration department in the War Office, and because of her, nursing is no longer frowned upon, but is now an honorable vocation. Everyone, please give a warm welcome for Miss Florence Nightingale.
I'm so excited to meet you, Miss Florence Gale.
Oh, please call me Flo. My parents did.
Well then, Flo, what was your childhood like?
I and my sister Parth, along with our parents, William and Fanny, spent our summers in Leahurst in Derbyshire, a beautiful area in East England, while we wintered on the southern coast at Embley in Hampshire. We visited London every spring and autumn, and we vacationed a few times with my mother's sister's family, the Nicholsons, as well as spending every Christmas with them.
You became one of the greatest nursing pioneers. What was school like?
As children, our governess taught Parth and I music and drama, while my father taught us several languages, history, and philosophy. My favorite. Do things for the greater good of others and using the environment to aid in recovery were two of the philosophies that I carried with me. Back in the day, my parents wanted me to get married to a suitable man, and I was proposed to a few times, but I was called to serve others through God, through nursing. I defied my parents and went into nursing school. Oh, they didn't want me in that line of work. You know, nurses see more nakedness than prostitutes. And that reason was what many thought nurses went into the business for. They were often poor and were subject to so many diseases. My parents were devastated when I trained in 1851 in Kaiserswerth, Germany, at Pastor Theodor Fleidner's hospital and school for the Lutheran deaconesses. In 1853, I went to Paris for more nurse training and returned to England as a superintendent of nurses. DON, I think you call it these days.
Flo, can you tell me more about how you became to spend time providing to the sick and wounded during the Crimean War?
The British Empire was at war against the Russian Empire for control over the Ottoman Empire. The Turkish Ottoman Empire declared war on Russia following several clashes over Holy Land. The British and French were allies of Turkey and wanted to stop the Russian expansion. I first heard of those poor soldiers that they were receiving in London. In the London Times, excuse me. I couldn't believe the lack of supplies, the filthy conditions, and the complete chaos that was occurring. As you know, I'm a woman of action, so I knew there was something that I could do. I wrote to the Secretary of State's wife and requested that I be allowed to lead a private expedition to help. It just so happened that at that same time, the Secretary of State himself was writing to me to ask the same thing. Needless to say, my request was approved, and I set out with 38 nurses for the Barrack Hospital in Scutari.
What were the conditions of the hospital like?
Oh, they were downright dreadful. The hospital was filthy, overcrowded, had very limited supplies, understaffed, and that limited staff was uncooperative. Not to mention, most of the water available was contaminated, and the soldiers were left lying in their own excrement. More soldiers were actually dying from infectious diseases than from their actual wounds. I knew that I had to work fast.
Wow, that sounds awful. What did you do to improve the conditions?
Well, I knew that I had to care for these soldiers properly, and we would need more supplies. The most basic supplies, like clean water and soap, were running out fast. Fortunately, I was able to bring supplies funded by the London Times. I enlisted the soldiers' wives to assist with cleaning of the laundry daily. The medical wards were cleaned, and the nurses and I provided basic nursing care. I started a standard of care that included bathing, clean clothing, and adequate nutrition. Most nights, I would walk the hallways, caring for patient by the light of the lamp.
Oh, so that's how you became known as a lady with the lamp. I can only imagine your care and new standards help improve patient outcomes.
Yes, it did. We were able to reduce the mortality rate by 2/3. Isn't that wonderful?
I still can't believe I'm talking to you, Flo. This is truly an honor. I'm just so excited. After being in Scutari for over a year, you went home to Leehurst. You were greeted with a hero's welcome. The Queen rewarded you with something. What was the reward?
The Queen gave me an engraved brooch. It was very nice. We call it the Nightingale Jewel.
Oh my, very nice. Why did the Queen present you with this brooch?
She gave me the brooch for the notes on matters affecting the health, efficiency, and hospital administration of the British Army. That was that 830-page report that the MC had talked about earlier. It analyzed my experiences on proposing reforms for the military hospitals operating under poor conditions. These notes helped improve sanitation.
And did the British government give you something as well for your accomplishments?
Yes, the British government gave me a prize of $250,000. I was shocked and extremely grateful.
Miss Nightingale, the influence your report has on our hygiene today is outstanding. Thank you for all that you do. Before your influences on nursing, we as nurses were looked down upon. We were not well respected. You funded an establishment in the 1860s. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes, I funded an establishment at St. Thomas Hospital, and within it, the Nightingale Training School for Nurses. This was the first nursing school to teach germ theory.
Impressive. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I do appreciate you.
Oh, thank you for having me. You are quite welcome.
All right, ladies, great talk. What an interview that was. I have to say, I even forgot to introduce our special guest interviewee. Interviewer. She is Miss Angela, and she happens to be Mrs. Flo's #1 fan. So everybody, let's give a round of applause for them once more. So there are so many things named after this wonderful woman. Some include the Nightingale crocheted collar, stained glass windows in the United Kingdom museums, elementary schools in Vancouver, United States Air Force aircrafts, a nursing home in Derby, postage stamps in Britain and Belgium, multiple memorials, and she even is on her own British currency. And for being such an excellent guest today, we have to present you with a collection of commemorative stamps, Miss Nightingale.
Oh, thank you so much. I am so proud to take this, and I had a wonderful interview with you ladies.
Thank you so much. Everyone, let's give another round of applause for Miss Florence Nightingale.